Untitled Chapter in Rakhi. Soils we didn't do last time, no? Soil resources we will take up today. Mark out. Last time we did climate. We finished the chapter, no? Now we have to do. There are two chapters. They are not too big. Soil resources and the next is natural vegetation. I'll share with you all one PPT. Map work you all finished last time. Map work and those questions I have given you, know, homework. Climate questions didn't do. I had given them.
You gave maps in this class. We gave maps.
Yes, but the climate I had given homework, you had written it. I had asked you why are you marking, you said I'll write it. Found it? Found it or no? Both of you? Oh. Not done? What do people do? All four your time. All four classes they have finished. I'll sign for the day. Okay. What is the page number? 52. Soil resources. So here in this chapter we'll study about soil, the types of soil. Okay, that's alluvial, red soil, black soil, laterite soil, desert soil. Then about soil erosion, prevention and conservation. Okay. So first, what is soil? Soil is the thin layer of loose mixture of small rock particles. Hmm? What is soil? Write it down in your notebooks. The key points. Thin layer of a loose mixture of small rock particles and rotting organic. Leave space for your answers that you haven't written. Climate, matter, that covers the surface So what are the key points here? Thin layer of a loose mixture, small rock particles that contain rotting organic matter that covers the surface of the earth. So what is soil? A thin layer of a loose mixture of small rock particles containing rotting organic matter that covers the surface of the earth. It supports forests, grasslands, and crops from which all living creatures on the earth derive their energy. Now, various forces of nature, such as changing temperature, running water, and wind, affect the formation of the soil. What are the three things? Changing temperature, running water, and wind. Changing temperature, running water, and wind. So what are these? These are the factors that affect the formation of the soil, or in other words, they are all factors that lead to erosion. What is weathering and what is erosion? What is weathering and what is erosion? Erosion is the transportation and weathering is the fragmentation, the breaking down of rocks where they are. Okay. Erosion is the carrying forward of those particles, and then it goes even further and then finally turns into soil. Okay. So changing temperature, that is hot and cold. You must have done types of weathering: physical, chemical, biological weathering, right? So what was there in physical weathering?
Log disintegration.
Huh?
Log disintegration, granular disintegration.
Weathering by frost action. So what happens in that? There's heating and cooling, right? Then you all studied about that where you have a layer which is eroded like an onion, exfoliation that is called. So what is all that happening? Why is all that happening? Because of indifferential heating and cooling. Like the above, the surface on the top heats, whereas the ones below aren't heating that much. So there is expansion and contraction, and that leads to disintegration of the rock. Running water, because the force of the water or the waves and all or the rivers carry it forward or even lead to the breakdown of rocks. And wind, like you have in places which are arid, which are dry, like deserts and all. So it's carried forward, 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 and that leads to erosion. And finally, the formation of soil. Now, forces of nature such as changing temperature, running water, and wind affect the formation of soil. These forces of nature, along with the chemical and organic changes that take place in the soil, contribute to the evolution of soil. So, all these factors, along with the chemical and organic changes taking place. So, this plus organic and chemical changes taking place in the soil lead to what? Formation of soil. Then and this takes millions and millions of years. It's not formed that fast. Now, faulty agricultural practices, overgrazing, and deforestation lead to soil erosion. Faulty agricultural practices, overgrazing. What is overgrazing? Huh? No, grazing means those animals that eat grass, that is known as grazing. So overgrazing means what they do is that because they don't have that much land available for the animals to have grass, they take those animals in those same places. So there's like the same place is being used by the animals to graze. So that erodes the soil. Okay, that makes it infertile because you have the same grass growing and very often there is no grass at all because they have overgrazed and they have finished all the grass. So the layer or the surface of the soil is without any crops or trees, and that's when erosion happens, right? Because the trees hold on to the soil. So overgrazing leads to um, erosion of the soil. Okay. So faulty agricultural practices, overgrazing and deforestation. Faulty agricultural in what way? They might grow the same crop over there again and again and again, or they might keep the land without any agriculture, without any crops growing. So then these lead to erosion of the soil. Deforestation, in what way does deforestation lead to erosion? Cutting trees. So when there are no trees, there's going to be no holding of the soil. So that soil gets eroded. Improved agricultural practice, reduced pressure of overgrazing, and afforestation. That's the opposite of the ones mentioned in these, the three reasons. What are the three reasons? What are the three reasons we spoke about?
Agriculture practice.
Faulty. So three problems.
Faulty agriculture
Faulty.
practice, overgrazing, and deforestation.
Faulty agricultural practices. Second was overgrazing. And third was deforestation. What is the opposite of these? So these lead to problems. So how do you resolve these? With improved agricultural practices. Overgrazing should lead to control on grazing. And deforestation should lead to afforestation. Okay, so what is the solution? Faulty agricultural practices should take place of improved agricultural practices. So we should not do such things that are going to harm the soil. Overgrazing, control on grazing. Okay, so that soil will not get eroded, and deforestation should lead to afforestation. So cutting of trees should take place of planting of more trees. Constituents of soil. Soils are derived from the parent rock material through a process of breakup of wear and tear. Parent rock material, see here. This you can see. You can see this image on the right. Topsoil or the upper soil layer. Subsoil, weathered rocks, sand and silt and clay. Substratum, the weathered parent rock material. When we are saying weathered parent rock material, what do we mean? Which has got weathered. It has got broken, not eroded, but it is weathered. Because this is below the surface. So erosion will be of the upper layer. And this is the unweathered parent bedrock. So the soil that is formed on the surface will be of the constituents of the unweathered parent bedrock. Okay. So soils are derived from the parent rock material, that is the unweathered parent bedrock. Because there's a difference in the rocks, that's why you have different types of soil, because they are made out of different kinds of rocks. And how are those rocks formed? Which are those three types of rocks?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Metamorphic. So that's sedimentary, igneous, and metamorphic. What are sedimentary rocks? How are they formed?
Sedimentary rocks are formed when the minerals accumulate in a place and
Minerals mean when you have the wind blowing and the soil or wind or water, any factor of erosion, there will be layer on layer on layer which has got accumulated. Correct? एक layer आया, फिर और आया, हाँ? When those get compressed because of heat, number one, what does it require? Rocks require, what do they require to form? They require heat and intense pressure. हाँ? ये कहाँ से मिलता है? हाँ? Below the earth. तो layer on layer form होगा तो वो ऊपर का soil won't get formed into rock. Soil will remain soil. But when that soil after millions of years gets covered with more layers of soil, then below the surface of the earth, as you said, below the earth you said. So that is correct. So when it is buried below the earth for many millions of years, and it gets heat and intense pressure. From where will it get?
Inside.
From the layers on the top. Pressure is something that comes from the top, correct? So intense pressure from the layers on the top. Then these rocks are formed. So we spoke about sedimentary rocks. Igneous you all should be clear of. So the sedimentary rocks, if you see, they will contain layers or they will contain fossils कि कोई animal का कुछ skeleton होगा, some insects which have died or some leaves which are there which have got buried over a number of years. Okay, igneous. So that turns into humus. Humus is what? Organic matter. Igneous is what? What are igneous rocks?
Igneous are formed because of cooling of the lava.
Yes. Igneous means made of fire. Made of fire. Huh? Fire कहाँ से आएगा? From the magma lava. What is lava? What is magma?
Lava is
Correct. It's the same thing. So, these igneous rocks, when lava, magma or magma, so we would say magma, lava. So when this is cooled, then you form, then igneous rocks are formed. What are metamorphic rocks? Metamorphize means what, you know? You all have done earlier in science metamorphosis of a tadpole, where a tadpole, a small tadpole turns into a frog. Have you done those diagrams ever in science? किया है ना? ये बोल रहे हाँ, you're saying no. Okay, you remember doing it? So what is that? That is known as metamorphosis. Metamorphize means what? To change its form. Like if you are a child, you become a man. So we will say that you have metamorphosed into a man. You have grown into, changed into. So metamorphosis means change. So these are rocks. These are actually these two types of rocks which have changed their form over a period of time. Okay, they could be combined because like those sedimentary igneous rocks would have broken, eroded, and then again they are forming into rocks. So these are the ones that have changed their form. Okay, igneous and sedimentary that have changed their form again over a period of time. So those are metamorphosis. Okay. Now constituents of soil. This you all understood? This part? Now constituents of soil. Soils are derived from parent rock material through a process of breakup and wear and tear. What is that process called? What is that process called? What is breakup or wear and tear process called? That is called this, where I wrote that. Breakup and wear and tear is weathering. Decomposed vegetal and animal remains called humus. Vegetal means plants, decomposed parts of plants. And animal remains called humus is an important constituent of soil and adds to the fertility of the soil. Besides humus, silica and sand are the other constituents of soil. Now, soil fertility. Soil fertility refers to the strength of the soil to support plant life. Generally, see, when we say something is fertile, we say that, okay, yes, this soil is fertile because you can grow crops there, right? So, it should be able to support plant life. Fertile soil has the following characteristics. There are how many? 4 things. It contains adequate amount of moisture. Okay. Second, it has sufficient depth. So moisture, why? To supply the essential nutrients to the plants. Okay, otherwise the plants will not be able to absorb it into their roots. So you need adequate amount of moisture. Second, it has sufficient depth to enable the plants to grow their roots as per their requirement. Correct? If you just keep 1 inch of soil and you expect the plant to grow, will it be able to grow? It won't, because it needs to hold on. The roots need something to hold on to. So it needs sufficient depth. Third, it is rich in nutrients such as nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium that are necessary for the basic plant nourishment. So those basic nutrients at least have to be there. Third, it contains organic matter that improves the structure of soil. Organic matter means, what is the other word for organic matter? Humus. Okay, so what are the things required for soil fertility? Soil fertility, tell me. First, what does it need? Adequate amount of moisture. Why does it need moisture? Why does it need adequate amount of moisture?
Supplying essential nutrients.
Yes, for supplying essential nutrients. Second, what does it need?
Sufficient depth
It needs sufficient depth.
for plant to grow their roots.
Yeah. For plants to grow their roots, otherwise they won't be able to survive. Third, what does it need?
Rich in nutrition such as nitrogen.
Correct. It needs nutrients in soil to enable plant growth, right? So this is like, if there is moisture but the soil doesn't have any nutrients, it's not going to grow. Like in your house also, very often, if you all have plants in your house, so don't you need to put manure in between sometimes and enrich the soil, right? So why is that done? Because you're adding the nutrients. The plant is you're giving the plant limited amount of soil, and that's what the plant is utilizing to grow. So that's getting over. It's getting depleted. So you need to replenish it. And the fourth thing,
Organic matter.
it needs organic matter. Then soil classification, according to its location, soil can be classified as residual or sedimentary soil. Almost all soils are formed in situ, that is, they are formed in the original position. By the breaking up, that's the layer where it is formed by the breaking up of the parent rock here that you can see. Breaking up of the parent bedrock. They have a well-defined soil profile. Well-defined soil profile means the soil profile will what all the soil is made up of. Okay, that will be as per the parent bedrock. So it is clear they have a well-defined soil profile. They include black soil, red soil, laterite soil, desert soil. Okay, these are the ones that you will be studying in detail. Black soil is formed out of lava. Okay, red soil is again the same. Laterite soil and desert soil. Then transported soil. So residual or sedimentary soils, not transported. These soils are ex situ, that is, they are transported by various agents of erosion and consist. Which are the agents of erosion? You even have glaciers, okay, which here it's not mentioned. Then, these soils are ex situ, that is transported by various agents of erosion and consist of sediments carried and deposited by rivers and winds. Hence, they do not have a well-defined soil profile because it is carried, so it's got mixed with other types of soil. You might have red soil, black soil, which have got combined. So they don't have a transported soils, that's why don't have a well-defined soil profile. Alluvial soils are transported soils. How are they formed? From the rivers. Okay, the rivers leave alluvial soil at the floodplains or the river beds. Okay, types of soil. India is a vast region with very natural environment. We find several physiographic regions and different types of climate. Therefore, a number of soil types have developed here. On the basis of their origin, color, composition, and location of soil, soils have been classified in the following ways. Okay, here now I have just to show you on the screen. This you see, why is soil important as a resource? Most important renewable natural resource, medium of plant growth. Come here. So people to see them. I'll be changing the screen and all. Keep my pouch. So why is soil important? Read. You read.
Most important.
आज खाना खा के आया ठीक से बाल तो भी वैसे ही है. You said that you don't cook. What did you have today? Muesli. कल वो last time he had muesli. What you had today? Every day you have muesli. बोर नहीं होता muesli खा के? नहीं, you like it? Huh? Okay. Read. Most important.
Most important renewable natural resource, medium of plant growth, supports different types of living organisms on the earth. The soil is a living system, takes millions of years to form. Relief, parent rock or bedrock, climate, vegetation, and other forms of life and time are important factors in the formation of soil. Change in temperature, action of running water, wind and glaciers, activities of decomposers, etc. contribute to the formation of soil. Chemical and organic changes which take place in the soil are equally important. Soil also consists of organic and inorganic materials.
So organic material is humus. Now, on the basis of factors responsible for soil formation, its color, thickness, texture, age, chemical and physical properties, soils of India are classified into different types. They are alluvial, black, arid. Arid means dry. Red, yellow, laterite, and forest. Red and yellow is the same, but yellow is the red in its hydrated form. Okay, then it looks yellow. Here, alluvial. So first we are talking about, we'll do from here first and then you all can read it from the text later. Okay. So alluvial is which one? Yes, this light green. So where is it? You can see it here, you can see it in the Ganga Delta, here, wherever you have rivers basically. Okay, and in these coastal areas. Again, there would be rivers over here. So, widespread in the northern plains and river valleys. You'll have not been given any map in the book. You'll have, see in your maps also you can see those that dotted alluvial soil. Acha, one more thing, map work also, you have you all seen your CIC website? The new syllabus. You have? So geography dekha? In geography now, map work you have selected ones. So you don't have to do everything. Like even major cities, there are a few that are named like that. So rivers also.
Places marked or
They have named. So it's like you have Mumbai, Chennai, Delhi, like that, for example. So only those will come in the board. So they have specified those. Like even rivers, you don't have to study all. There are some that have been named in the, you can check the website, the PDFs that they upload. So there are some that are named, only those you need to study. Even English, there's a lot that has got deleted. Well then see what
I'm only seeing C1, C2.
Act 1.
Uh,
Yeah, Act 1 and 2 you don't. And from there,
most like the chapters which came on 9th standard.
yeah, you have like the last 5 chapters.
Yes.
First you had from 1 to 6. Now you have from 6 to 10. So those 5 chapters and 5 poems. So in the chapters that Angel in Disguise, what you had last year, that same thing is there now. And the new ones. And the new ones. And the 4 new ones.
But the last year's is cancelled.
Last year's all are not cancelled. Chapter 6 is there. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yes. Last year there was only 5 chapters from each book.
1 to 6 you had, no?
Yes, sir. 1 to 6 or 1 to 6.
1 to 6 you had, correct?
One to
So you had Angel in
12
Disguise,
chapters, yes.
and that side, poem side, you had Daffodils.
Yeah.
So from last year's only that Daffodils and Angel in Disguise will come, and the others 4 will be the fresh ones, which are the remaining 4. Quite a bit has got deleted. So just keep a watch on that. So even map work and all, there is quite a bit. So if it's reduced, then good, no? That you can focus on that and get your full marks in maps. Where topo is concerned, those definitions and all that are there. It's clearly mentioned in the syllabus. So go through that. Okay. So widespread in the northern plains and river valleys. Which are the northern plains? These ones here. And river valleys cover about 40% of the total land area of the country, mainly derived from the debris brought down by the Himalayas. Debris means, yeah, all the material you can say brought down by the Himalayan rivers. There are a lot of rivers there, no, flowing from the Himalayas. In the peninsular region, they are found in the deltas. Peninsular region कौन सा हुआ? ये वाला, ये पूरा area peninsular region हुआ. So they are found in the deltas of the east coast and in the river valleys here. This side, you can see here. Or in the west coast, you don't have any, but in the east coast, you have alluvial soil found. Then color varies from light grey to ash grey. Nature varies from sandy loam to clay. Okay, so it's fine. Nature rich in potash but poor in phosphorus. There are 2 types, khadar and bangar. See here, you saw in this khadar and bangar. Khadar is the new alluvium and bangar is the old alluvium. Okay, how you can remember this bangar? Think of bangar. What is bangar? Your old stuff that you give away. So bangar is old alluvium. Okay. So Khadar is new alluvium, occupies the floodplains of the rivers. It is nearer to the rivers. It's closer to the rivers because it's fresh alluvial soil which is brought down. Whereas Bangar is a little away. Okay, Khadar is enriched with fresh silt deposits every year. Whereas Bangar is old alluvium deposited away from the floodplains. How away? Means पहले वो river वहाँ पे flow हुआ होगा and then now it has got reduced, so those floodplains are now away. Whereas now what is leaving nearby is the new alluvium. Which is new alluvium? Khadar. Then both Khadar and Bangar soils contain concretions, that is kankars of impure calcium carbonate. These soils are more loamy and clayey in the lower middle Ganga plains and the Brahmaputra valley, while loamy and more clayey in the lower Ganga plains, lower and middle. Because वो ऊपर से flow हो के आ रहा है. So when it's come from the top, that erosion has not taken place. So those would be bigger pieces of stones which are again breaking into smaller pieces. But then when it comes to the lower and the middle Ganga plains, when those rivers reach at the bottom, those have got, they become more fine by the time. Then alluvial soils are intensely cultivated. You grow a lot of crops in this soil because they are like that. It's in these regions. So that's why you see in Punjab, UP, all these places you have a lot of agriculture. Because first of all they have fertile soil. Secondly, you have rivers flowing there, so they have access to water. And secondly, here there are plains. So where there are plains, you can do agriculture. It's easier for people to live also over there. So these are more populated. Then alluvial soils are intensely cultivated. Wheat, maize, sugarcane, pulses, oilseeds, etc. are mainly cultivated. ये वाला समझ गया? Alluvial soil. Then red and yellow. That is this red color. Red and yellow soil. So where is it? Here in these regions and in the east. Towards the east over here. Okay. See in your map. Red and yellow soil, the blank one. Okay, only thing here in the northern side also they have shown the same soil, but there you have actually forest soil. But right in your map they've shown red and yellow over there. Correct? Acha, I have black and white. So what is it? Yellow. So correctly shown, no? Mine is a 0, so then I take. So the same places, red and yellow, also known as omnibus group. Okay, this is additional information. Covers about 18.5% of the total land area of the country, found in regions of low rainfall, eastern parts and the southern parts of the Deccan Plateau. So you have these eastern parts and the Deccan Plateau, southern parts, because this is on the leeward side. So you have lesser rainfall falling here. So it's found in regions of low rainfall. I think here now you all first write down the points. Take this. So it will be recollected also well. Just write down in point form. Okay, don't write in sentence form. Write in point form. I didn't get my water. I just get. white color. It's very see now? So, now she's good. Even now, so much grace. She's very so much. Try writing full sentences. Just write the points. Next one, I'll tell you how you should write. Okay. This one. And next is red and yellow. So where is red? In these parts where you have yellow color. Okay. So covers about 18.5% of the total land area of the country, found in regions of low rainfall, eastern and southern parts of the Deccan Plateau here. This side of the Deccan Plateau, eastern part and the southern part. Along the Piedmont zone of Western Ghats, that is here, this part over here. Piedmont is lying between mountains. So it's like a plateau which will lie between mountains, that is a Piedmont Plateau. So along the Piedmont zone of the Western Ghats, parts of Orissa and Chhattisgarh, and in the southern parts of the Middle Ganga Plain, that is this part here, Middle Ganga Plain would be in these parts. Okay. The red color, why is it red? Due to the presence of iron in crystalline and metamorphic rocks. Okay, like over here, see, you can see there is black soil here, which means this area has a lot of metamorphic rocks. So that's why this is red color, because of the presence of iron in the rocks. The fine-grained red and yellow soil is usually fertile, while the coarse-grained soil is less fertile. Coarse-grained means it will be more rough, it will have bigger particles. So which is more fertile? The fine-grained variety. Okay. This type of soil is generally deficient in nitrogen, phosphorus and humus. Correct? It will not contain humus also, because this is igneous. So igneous won't contain any organic matter. Wheat, cotton, oilseeds, millets, tobacco, pulses are mainly cultivated in red and yellow soil. Okay. Now write down the points as I am telling you. So heading first, red and yellow. Then write in inverted commas, omnibus group. This you can write as additional information in case you have the answer. Omnibus group. Just write omnibus group. Then 18.5% of total land area. 18.5% of total land area. Next point. regions of low rainfall, regions of low rainfall, brackets, eastern and southern parts of Deccan Plateau, eastern and southern parts of Deccan Plateau, close the bracket and continue. Along the Piedmont zone, along the Piedmont zone of the Western Ghats, Piedmont, P-I-E-D, Piedmont, P-I-E-D-M-O-N-T, Piedmont zone of the Western Ghats, comma, parts of Orissa and Chhattisgarh, parts of Orissa and Chhattisgarh, and in the southern parts of the Middle Ganga plain. This would be the same. And in the southern parts of the Middle Ganga plain. Next point. Red color, put a hyphen, due to iron oxide in crystalline and metamorphic rocks. In crystalline and red color in crystalline and due to iron in crystalline and metamorphic rocks. Red color due to iron in crystalline and metamorphic rocks. Then write next point, yellow soil is red soil in hydrated form. Is red soil in hydrated form. Then write next point, fine grained, more fertile, fine grained dash, in between put a hyphen. Then next line write, coarse grained, C-O-A-R-S-E, coarse grained, less fertile, hyphen, less fertile. Next point, deficient in, D-E-F-I-C-I-E-N-T, deficient in nitrogen, phosphorus and humus. Deficient in nitrogen, phosphorus and humus. Next line, wheat, cotton, oilseeds, millets, tobacco, pulses. Wheat, cotton, oilseeds, tobacco, millets, pulses. Yes? ये हो गया red soil. What we did before this? Alluvial soil. Now we spoke about red soil. Now next is black, Regur, or black cotton soil. Why it's called cotton soil? Because cotton grows well in this kind of soil. So where are these? In your, which color is that? Peach color, no? This part here, black soil. Here you can see towards the west. And one small part in the western part again. Fine? Black soil. Yeah, covers about 15% of the total land area of the country. Covers most of Deccan Plateau, correct? This entire thing is Deccan Plateau. So this is covering a good proportion of the Deccan Plateau. Parts of Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, and some parts of Tamil Nadu, that is here. Okay. In the upper reaches of the Godavari and Krishna, the northwestern part of Deccan Plateau, the black soil is very deep. That is over here. Northwestern, northwestern here. This part it is very deep. This black soil here. Okay. Color varies from deep black to grey. Nature. Generally clayey, deep and impermeable. Impermeable means water does not absorb very easily into it. They swell greatly and become sticky when wet in the rainy season. What happens? In the rainy season, when water goes in, they swell, they become swollen and become sticky. Okay? In the dry season, the moisture evaporates and the soil shrinks, just like it has expanded in the rainy season with water. When water is evaporated from it, it again becomes shrunken. It shrinks and it develops wide cracks, big cracks in it are developed because of drying. It is rich in lime, aluminium, magnesium, and also contains potassium. However, these soils are deficient in nitrogen, phosphorus, and organic matter. Cotton pulses. Okay, here there is one point about that. This. See here, see page 85. I'm reading those lines over there. During the dry season. हाँ, page 85 black soil. No, ऊपर वो black soil texture लिखा है ना? It's I don't know. In my book it's 85. Just see, it might be different. Mine is an old one, last year's. So now this, see characteristics texture. Fourth line there. Because of the high clay content found it. So because of the high clay content, this soil expands when wet and becomes difficult to plow. Plow means खेतीबाड़ी करना, उसमें dig विग करना मुश्किल हो जाता है. Imagine clay, actual clay. You play with Play-Doh, no? You must have played with Play-Doh and you must be knowing how clay is. You must have seen those Ganpati idols and all being made. So it's not easy to till it, no? उसको dig विग करना होगा तो मुश्किल, वो ऐसे जम जाता है, right? So this soil expands when wet and it is difficult to plow. During the dry season, it shrinks and develops big cracks which help in air circulation. So this is helpful because of those cracks. It helps in air circulation of the soil. This characteristic causes a kind of self-plowing. Means when they plow, what they do is so that the soil gets in some air. Okay, so this becomes like a self-plowing where people don't have to then take the trouble of plowing it. Okay, so due to slow absorption and loss of moisture, black soil retains moisture for a very long time. Because the absorption is slow, it is impermeable, right? So it absorbs water very slowly. Because of that reason, it also releases water very slowly. It takes time to dry. which helps the crops, especially in the rain-fed ones, to sustain even during the dry season. Means those crops which are rain-fed, which depend on the rain, those crops also can grow for a longer time even when there is a shortage of water, because that soil is holding on to the water for a long time. So the soil is still moist. Whereas if it was some other soil, then probably that soil would have dried up and you would have needed to water it. If you didn't, they would have died. So that's an advantage of these of the black soil. Okay. So write down this rich in iron, lime, aluminium, magnesium, and also contains potassium. However, these soils are deficient in nitrogen, phosphorus, organic matter. Cotton, pulses, millets, castor, tobacco, sugarcane, citrus fruits. Citrus fruits are which? Oranges and sweet limes, khatte wale fruits. Linseeds. Citrus means sour. Okay. Write down the points. I'll tell you. 15% of total land area. Only write 15%. Don't write covers and all. It's understood. Huh? Next, covers most of the Deccan Plateau. Then put a hyphen. This you have to write as it is. Parts of Maharashtra. Parts of Maharashtra. Madhya Pradesh. Parts of Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh. Gujarat. Andhra Pradesh. You can write AP, MP like that. Andhra Pradesh and some parts of Tamil Nadu. You can write TN over there. What are you writing now? What parts of? Tell me when you will have finished up to this Deccan Plateau. This black soil is very deep. Over till there you will write acids. Huh? Done? You finished? You write TNMP like that short forms. TNMP, AP, Gujarat you can write it GUJ. Then color hyphen, write color hyphen. लिख क्या stretch मार रहा है? Deep black to grey. Deep, right? What? अच्छा पूरा लिखा varies from deep black to grey. No need to write on the color dash deep black to grey. Nature. What are you writing? तुम लोग अपना ही लिख रहे हो तो मैं बोलती हूँ. हाँ? Nature hyphen clay, CLAYEY, deep and impermeable, IMPERMEABLE, impermeable. Good. Then next, continue. Swell greatly. and sticky when wet in the rainy season. Next point, right? In the dry season, soil shrinks, comma, develops big cracks, big cracks, cracks, which help in, add that point, which help in air circulation, then put in inverted commas, put a full stop and just write a point in inverted commas, self-ploughing. Then close the inverted comma. Next line, right? Due to slow absorption, soil retains moisture for a long time. So they can survive even in the dry season. In brackets, rain-fed areas. हाँ मतलब समझ गया ना, rain-fed areas means in areas where they are dependent on rainfall, where they have less of irrigation facilities. Then next point. Rich in lime, iron, magnesium, aluminium, next point, pour in nitrogen, phosphorus, organic matter. Nitrogen, phosphorus, organic matter. Then cotton, jawar, wheat, citrus fruits, citrus fruits, sugarcane, then you can add the others, millets, castor, tobacco, linseed, etc. Millets, castor, tobacco, linseed, right in that order. Done? Okay, next is not desert, wait. I don't have desert. Next is this red soil. What did we finish now? Black soil, red soil we did. Then is laterite. Laterite, you'll have 4. Huh? Laterite is where this blue part. In your book, what color is it? Which one is it? Red color. So those small patches that you can see, first you can see some around the western Ghats. Then you can see this small patch in the east. Then you have one more here, right, in the center, Deccan Plateau, western side. No? Huh?
Here also we have
Here also, in this southern part. Small patches you have. Then you have one here, one more smaller one here, and this side also.
3 here.
Yes, 3 more. Here 1 and here 1. Yes, yes, correct. And this is there in the eastern side, correct? And sorry, in the western side, these 2 are there. And in the eastern side, you have these other 2. One is a long one and one is like a U shape. Correct? So, laterite derived from the Latin word later, which means brick. Brick means bricks are made out of this soil. Okay, accounts for 3.7% of the total area of the country. Small portion, no? That is laterite. Laterite soil is deficient in organic matter, nitrogen, phosphate, calcium. However, iron oxide and potash are in abundance. Although low in fertility, they respond well to manures and fertilizers. Means what? They are not so fertile, but if you use manure and fertilizers, then you can grow crops using laterite soil also. Then, found in Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, hilly regions of Assam and Orissa. Red laterite soil in Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh are well suited for tree crop cultivation like cashew nuts, and you also have tea, coffee as per your textbook. So when you are writing this point, you add that also. Then laterite soil hardens rapidly and irreversibly. Means what? Hardens rapidly means it hardens fast, and irreversibly means it's so irreversibly means it does not soften fast. So the softening is irreversible on exposure to air, a property that leads to its use as building bricks in southern India. Okay, so that's why it's used for building bricks. So write down the points. This is that one you can add tea, coffee also. It take a few minutes more since I left you a little bit late. Okay.
Like